Hey guys, today we're going to talk about the importance of consistency when it comes to building muscle and fat loss. Now, even more so, you may not believe, but tracking macros can be even more helpful when you're trying to build muscle because it allows you a constant surplus. The same goes for dieting though, that it allows you to ensure you're always in a constant deficit, but you have a little more freedom with having higher and lower days when dieting, because even if you don't have as big a deficit, you can still lose weight. The pure and simple answer though is, if your main goal is building muscle and you don't eat enough protein and calories in a day, you don't build any muscle for it. Now, unlike with fat loss, where you can make up for this with harsher deficits on other days, you can't build more muscle on one day. There's an absolute limit on how much you can build. So eating more than that doesn't speed it up, unfortunately, it just makes you fatter faster. So it's even more important to understand the foods that are going into your body when we build muscle. Now, to explain this more detailed, I've made a few graphs and I'm going to take you through them right now to explain so you get a better understanding. Okay, the first thing you need to understand when it comes to building muscle is two things must happen. You must have an excess of energy coming into your body via food, and you must have adequate protein. The excess of energy tells your body it has enough energy in order to build this new muscle because it's expensive to do so. You need the protein there to ensure that there are the building blocks to make that muscle. So here you're going to see a simple graph where the red is your intake that you need to maintain weight, and the blue is the intake in which you're taking. Now you see if it's sporadic and you're not tracking your macros, some days you may be above your maintenance, which means you're building muscles, and other days you may be below it. Now the problem with this is that you can only build a certain amount of muscle. So say if you get low calories on a day or two, consuming excess calories on another day is not going to make up for that lost muscle. Let's just say that you can build 200 grams of muscle every day. If you don't get that 200 grams on Monday, you cannot get 400 grams on Tuesday. It doesn't work that way. 200 grams is max, so if you miss out on that day, it's gone, there's no making up for it. So your goal should be to have a nice consistent intake like this. Now what you see here is you're constantly consuming more calories than you need every single day. Not a lot, just a little bit more. Just enough to tell your body there's excess energy here, we should do something with it. And with the right training stimulus, that's going to tell your body, let's build muscle, because training is hard, it's breaking us down. Let's build some muscle up so it's not as tough as it was last time. That's the key to getting lean muscle growth. The big problem that happens here when people don't track their macros is they end up consuming really high surpluses or even in a deficit while trying to build muscle. So the scale weight's going all over the place and they're missing out on all potential muscle growth because every single day they're not in a surplus. Now, I'm not saying that you do have to track your macros every single day when you're trying to build muscle or when you're losing fat. We are doing it in this system, in this Zero to Hero project, to show you guys and give you an understanding of the quantity of energy, calories, and macronutrients that are in all the foods you consume. So later down the track, if I ask you roughly how many calories you're consuming, you can eyeball and have a good guess at what you're consuming. Now, as you see here, consistency is also important when in a deficit because you want to make sure that you're always losing some fat. Now, however, the difference here then with when you're trying to build muscle is that some days you may have to, let's say, go out and eat with family, and that's fine. So you may not be in a deficit on that day. You can make up for that by going a little more severe on another day, burning some excess energy and burning some excess fat. Whereas when you're trying to build muscle, if you don't get it right on that day, you miss out on muscle growth. With fat loss, if you have a day that's not ideal, you can just push for a little bit higher fat loss on the next day. Of course, in the ideal world, the great thing about tracking is it allows us to do something like this, a consistent, nice deficit, which means that you're going to be consistently losing weight and you're not going to have much fluctuations in the scale, which is going to allow you to see a constant, nice linear weight loss instead of it jumping around all the time when you consume higher or lower amounts of calories. So this is why consistency is key, and this is why we track our macros, guys. I hope these graphs were helpful.